Hey everyone, I'm recording this welcome tour video to help you organize your work in my class. I'm going to be using the second week of the course as the example that you need to follow in order to organize your work. In the first place, um, you have over here the navigation bars. I'm explaining this in case one of you is taking an online class for the first time, and so I'm going to be pretty obvious here for the ones that have done this before. But I think it's important you understand how it works before now that we're just beginning. Here on the navigation bars on the top of the platform, you have the syllabus and contents, the actividades bar, where you will find most of the activities that you'll do in my course. And in addition to that, you will have the recursos, communication, and evaluation. These are the most important parts. I'm going to begin by showing you the syllabus and contents area, and I'm using, as I said, week one as the example, and I'm sorry, week two as the example that you need to follow. The first thing you'll find is the planner of the week. You need to open the planner on Monday every week, and you need to download the planner. Here you will find information that you need to study, from where you need to get this information, and the activities that you need to complete before the end of the week. In the second week, for example, and I'm using the second week, I'm skipping the first one because the second week is far more complete. So you'll be uh, able to better understand the way the class works. You have in the planner, you have the description. For example, in the second week, you have to read the learning object of the second week in the contents section, and you will have to read the book from Andrew Lansford's Everyone's an Author, the first part, writing processes, on pages 75 to 103. So here I clearly detail where you have to get the information and the pages that you need to read. And in addition to that, you have to read the grammar part, which is also from the book by Andrew Lansford, on pages 675 through 686. You have in the second box the topics, and on the third you will have the activities. For example, in the second week you have to complete the first quiz, parallelism in the sentence. You're supposed to complete this after you study here the how to write good sentences from the book on pages 675 through 686. And also the second quiz, which is the first partial test, is writing a thesis statement, and this is after you have read the learning object as well. So you read the information in the learning object and in the book, and then you do the exercises that follow and are clearly described here. The third quiz, for example, the thesis statement, and you have the date. If you check the dates, you realize that there are a couple of dates. One is the due date, which is the last day that you're supposed to complete the exercise. In this case, for example, for quiz number one, the due date is January the 26th before 23:55. This is a Saturday. But in most of the activities that we have in my class, you have a due date and an end date. The end date is an extension that I always give in order for you to have more additional time in case you had an issue and couldn't complete the activity before the time that I was expecting you to complete it. Usually in the quizzes, you will have a complete day. If the due date is on Saturday before 23:55, you will have Sunday as the end date to complete the activity. In the writing assignments, the essays, you won't have a complete day, but you will have a few hours. For example, if the writing assignment is due on a Sunday at 23:55, you will have a window for submission, maybe 6 or 8 hours in addition to the deadline, in case you had an issue, you had a problem with your connection or what have you, and then you have a few more hours to be able to complete the activity. So I'm going to go back here to the description part. You have from where to get the information, from the book usually, and from the learning object. In some weeks you have the additional material in the same contents of the week, but that would be explained clearly in every planner every week. And once you have studied, once you have done the exercises, it's your time to evaluate yourself, to see if you understood or if you did it correctly. So every week, beginning on the second week onwards, you have the self-assessments. The self-assessments are activities that you will do on your own to check if you understood the contents and if you did it correctly. So it's an activity that is online, exercises that are online, and that you will complete, and then the results are given to you right away. I'm going to show you where you get the self-assessments and also what you need to do after you have completed the self-assessments. In the planner, you also have the competencies and the bibliography, the additional bibliography in case you have additional bibliography. So I'm going to start, as I said, in the second week. So I'm going to go back here to the contents in the second week. You have everything here. The planner, what I just showed you, the learning object, which is an interactive object that I wrote for you, where you would read. I would suggest that you read the learning object before the book, and you have a clear description of what you will find. For example, writing as a process, the theory of the week, and some additional material. So you need to read the learning object, and once you're done with the learning object and the book, you continue doing the activities. In the language corner is the exercises that in every week you will have language exercises. If you remember from the planner, it is how to write good sentences. I'm explaining in the language corner where you have to study this information before doing the quizzes over here and the partial tests and the self-assessments. So going back to the navigation bars, you have the syllabus and content, you have the actividades, and here you have the Dropbox. The Dropbox is where you will find the writing assignments. The writing assignment and other activities that are included here in the writing assignment 1 through 2, 3, and 4, and they will be releasing. They will be released gradually, so you won't have access to all the writing assignments yet. You will only have access to the first writing assignment, and after the second week, all the writing assignment, the 3 remaining writing assignment will be open for you to organize yourself. You will have other folders, like the link for the video conference. In case you can't make it to a video conference, you have a chance to send answers, and then you won't miss the points, and the portfolio. But I will explain the portfolio in the first video conference on Thursday. Going back to the actividades link, you will have the quizzes, is the link where you have all the exercises that you have to complete every week. For example, this is quiz number 1, number 2, number 3 are for the second week. You have, if you check one of the quizzes, for example, number 1, I'm going to open a preview. You have the instructions, and you have more than one attempt. For example, here you have the questions and the possible answers, and these quizzes are to be completed after you have studied the material for the week. As I said, you have more than one attempt with limited time. For example, in this case, it's 2 hours for quiz number 1, and if you're not happy with the result, you will get the score but not the feedback. But if you're not happy with the score, for example, this is over 20, you score 13, you might consider studying the material again and then taking the quiz again, because as I said, you have more than one chance for the quiz. In some of the quizzes you have 3, 4, 5, or 6 attempts. So that means that the highest grade that you get is the one that the system is going to record. So you have here the quizzes. Here you will also find the partial tests, but you do this gradually every week. In the actividades bar, you will also find the discussions or the photos, if you have in Spanish, and you have here the different photos. For example, here you have one that is active right now, is getting to know each other, where you have to record a video. In every photo, you have a clear description of my expectations, what you need to do, and also you will find the rubrics for evaluation. Everything in my class has a rubric, so the rubrics are over here. The rubric is an explanation of what I'm expecting and how I'm planning to evaluate this activity. For example, here is the criteria and the levels for the activity. Introductory video. I'm expecting you to post a video introducing yourself, interacting with your partners, the length, how long I want the video to be, the quality of the recording, etc., etc. So everything is going to be described here. So this is the another section in the actividades part. You will also find here the self-assessments. The self-assessments, as I said, are organized weekly, beginning in the first week now, and you're supposed to complete the self-assessment after you have studied the material. So usually, if you studied everything early in the week and you completed everything, then you do the self-assessments. In the self-assessments, as I said, are evaluated. You get the result right away. For example, if you check a wrong answer, question number 1, the system is going to tell you exactly why your answer is wrong, and I don't have a way to see if you did it or not. And so what you need to do is, after you have done all the self-assessment every week, I want you to focus on some of the answers that gave you trouble, the ones that you were dubious about, that you were not so sure, and I want you to make a screen capture of the answer to that exercise in particular, and copy that screen capture into a Word document. And what I want you to do by doing this is to leave testimony that you have done these exercises. You don't have to capture the screen after every single exercise that you do in the self-assessments. Only capture a few examples where you had trouble with, and then save it in a Word document to be loaded into the screen capture for self-assessment part in the course. This is evaluated for performance. This means that there is not a right or wrong answer here. All you gotta show me is that you did the exercises. So this is basically how the class works. You will have more chances to understand how it works by reading the syllabus and by bringing questions into the video conference. I'm going to be recording the video conference, and the video conference is going to be devoted entirely to the portfolio. So I won't be showing you how the portfolio works here, because we're going to be discussing this in the live session on Thursday, or you're going to be watching the video after the session's over. Please, here is the only part I want to show you now is the link where you have to load the screenshots of the self-assessments here. You have a link that is going to be open until the end, and once you capture the screen after finishing some of the exercises in the self-assessment, you load the evidence every week by loading one single Word document with evidence that you did these exercises. So basically, this is the way the class works. I hope you please read the syllabus and ask questions in the live session that we will have on Thursday. Thank you.